Welcome and good evening, everybody. God bless you and God bless America. I am your host, Steve, and this is the Liberal Letdown. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at liberal_letdown. Contact me at Gmail, theliberalletdown@gmail.com. And go ahead and follow me and subscribe to the Liberal Letdown on Gab and the Red Society. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Hopping into it, here we go. First story today, the U.S. Army is actually punishing military chaplains for their religious beliefs now. So, I am a Christian. I try to make this as Christian of a show as possible. I try to make it as family friendly as possible. However, there's going to be some topics today that are going to be pretty rough for people to listen to. There's going to be some language. So if there are children around, I'd suggest listening later. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and talk about some really rough stuff. The U.S. Army is looking to punish this chaplain who has spent his entire adult life, in the military, serving his country, all because he said he would not marry a gay couple. A soldier at 25 years, including multiple tours in Afghanistan, Africa, and the Middle East, Chaplain Squires is a decorated officer currently stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. First as an enlisted soldier, and now as a chaplain. He's had a stellar career helping untold numbers of soldiers and their dependents through their hardships and challenges of military life. So this man is pretty hardcore, all right? He's proven it time and time again during his service. 25 years is not something that people just do. A lot of guys do 20 and go because you can retire. Even though the Army investigator concluded that any discrimination was unintentional and that the Army's regulations regarding the matter are unclear, he recommended that Chaplain Squires be reprimanded, something that would tarnish the career and reputation of an otherwise exemplary officer and soldier, which I would have to agree. I would absolutely have to agree. Why? Why at all? Why? Why tarnish his reputation? For what? For what reason? Because he said no? It's the military. You get told that all the time. And then you throw someone's personal faith into the mix, and I feel like this is absolutely unacceptable. That he be found guilty of any type of discrimination, and the fact that it was ruled unintentional. So it's all about feelings being hurt. So first and foremost, the military is not, and absolutely should not be, a social experiment. It should not be considered as such. It's not. I don't have a problem with gay people per se. They tend to be very kind to me. I don't know what they do in the bedroom. I don't want to know. It's none of my business. Do what you want to do. Just don't talk about it. Don't let my kids see it. I don't want children in grade school being taught and talked about this because it's inappropriate. And I have my own personal beliefs as a Christian, but you're going to find that in a minute. Chaplain Squires, by law, had to deny these gay people their ability to be married by him because of licensing to be a chaplain. He wasn't allowed to do it because he has to be sponsored by a certain group, or somebody has to sponsor him. Excuse me. And the people who sponsor this gentleman, they don't allow that, so he can't do it legally. He didn't verbally assault anybody. He didn't say no. We don't want your people around. I disagree with this. I can't do this. I can't do that. Instead, he directed them to a different chaplain who could marry them, and he was still found discriminatory. Chaplain Squires, he did all he could by law to help the gay service members spend their lives together. But instead, he's going to be dragged through the mud for this because he said the word no. And I feel that that's highly inappropriate, and that shouldn't be acceptable. Service members shouldn't have to go through this type of ridicule and persecution over their own beliefs, especially when you are a chaplain. You are a chaplain. When people think of chaplain, they think of Christian. You think of Catholic. You think of God. Why would gay members go to a chaplain instead of get married outside the service? and then when you're shown the door, but you're also handed over to a specific chaplain who could do it, you still go ahead and file a grievance. I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And there's no reason for that whatsoever. There's not. All right, next story. Kamala Harris. So for those of you who know, I absolutely can't stand this woman. She is stupid. Stupid. Her comments are unintelligent. They have no facts. They have no base. She is just an absolute joke. And even for the Democratic Party, she's a joke. And that's saying something. Obviously, it's a conservative show. But, jeez. I bash conservatives, too. I'll bash Republicans, too. Send me stories. LiberalLetdown@gmail.com. Let's go. Kamala Harris. Assault weapons should not be walking the streets of a civilized country. Here we go. So, I didn't even write this in my show notes, but let's go ahead and go with this. The only assault weapons, which you can't even define, because you won't even try, the weapons that you consider scary that even ever technically walk the streets are by police officers looking for bad people. Changed my mind. Monday, on Power 105.1 FM's The Breakfast Club, Senator Kamala Harris said she was focused on the 2018 midterm election to help get people elected when who she described as having the courage, quote unquote, to enact specific gun control measures. Okay. Harris said, in this discussion, when we are talking about school safety, there are things we need to address that include thinking about why this is an issue, and part of it is that we have not passed meaningful, smart gun safety laws in this country. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how the NRA has grabbed people by different body parts, or of different parts of their body, and caused people to have a lack of courage. Again, another false choice. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I also want smart gun safety laws. Assault weapons should not be walking the streets of a civilized country. We should have universal background checks. So this dumbass apparently doesn't understand that we already have background checks. Background checks are already an absolute thing that you have to do. You don't get a firearm. You don't purchase a firearm legally without going through a background check. You don't. Nobody does. Nobody. If you've ever bought a firearm of any kind, you have to go through a background check. That is just fact. Every time I go to the gun store and I purchase a firearm, I got to go through a background check. Even though I have my carry license, I got to go through a background check. I guess that was a change in the state of Ohio. Pisses me off. I had to go through a very extensive background check and wait months the first time around. Ugh. This is nothing new, however. Background checks are nothing new. These have been a consistent thing for years. And her lack of knowledge on the subject is just laughable. It is funny that she doesn't know this. I feel like somebody close to her should pull her aside and say something close, as a, hey, you sound like a retard. Let me ask you this, Miss Harris. What is an assault weapon? Define an assault weapon so that everybody knows what exactly you would be banning, so then we can have a discussion moving forward about what you want instead of a mass gun ban that will fix nothing. The Las Vegas shooter, if anybody knows anything about firearms, knows that what he did and the damage and the rounds that he let off and all the stuff that he did is impressive. That a man of his age and his physical stature could do that and run between two windows. I mean, I'm not much for conspiracy theories, but I got to be honest, I'm not buying that. I'm really not. I mean, this dude's not John Wick. This guy's running around through two different windows using the countless number of firearms. They said what he used two, but he had 10 plus or something. So he used two, both of which look like ARs. And they said they had bump stocks on them. And in the pictures they showed, I didn't see no bump stocks. I didn't see any bump stocks on them rifles. And at that range, a bump stock is not going to be accurate whatsoever. It's not accurate now. It's a piece of trash equipment for your rifle. It really is. But you're going to define that as an assault weapon. And yet you don't know what an assault weapon is because you can't define it, because there is no such thing as an assault weapon. If you're scared of a rifle, that's fine. You ban AR-15s, the only thing that's going to happen is the Mini 14 is going to, the sales, those are going to skyrocket. Skyrocket. And people are going to deck them out the way they can, any way they can, and they're going to be scary looking then. If you're going to start banning parts and pieces for rifles, then that's when you're going to get into a whole lot of stuff, and then you're going to piss off everybody. I'm telling you, doing this is a bad move. Going through and any type of gun ban whatsoever isn't going to help anything. It hasn't helped anybody else. Anybody. Zero. People look at Australia. Well, Australia, no, it didn't. It didn't. Only a third of the people turned them in. And those third of the people that turned them in, the criminals who actually used them for unlawful acts, decided to kill a whole lot of them. And knife crimes went up. I mean, it's like, come on. It doesn't carry. There is no weight. The UK, you're about to ban knives because the knife crime went up. Are you kidding me? Ban vans. You people can't stop that shit from happening. All a ban of AR-15s does, all it's going to do, if this passes, or if this is brought up, or if this is subject to discussion, is disarm a populace that has done no wrong, to the majority of people. That's fact. If you want to ban guns, ban semi-automatic pistols. And then you're going to have people carrying around AR-15 pistols as concealed pieces. I swear to God, you're going to have an uptick in raincoats and well, what was them big ones? Oh God, what was the movies in the 80s? All the assassins wore them great big coats, trench coats. You're going to have an uptick in sales on those things. I'm telling you. And then you're going to have a real problem. I would not do that. You're going to ban semi-automatic pistols with they have more deaths, more crime. But if you're going to go off, off of murder statistics, let's listen to this, then we should start banning hands and feet and knives, because those are rising, and in some cases are actually worse than gun crime in the U.S. That's fact. Next story. Another religious litmus test for Christians. So for those of you who don't know, Mike Pompeo is, when all is said and done, a fantastic human being. Not only is the fact that he's a Christian, but he's a warrior and a patriot, and he's a good American. And he's proven that time and time again. Mike Pompeo is a West Point graduate who served in the U.S. Army as a cavalry officer patrolling the Iron Curtain before the fall of the Berlin Wall. He is a Harvard Law graduate, a former congressman representing the state of Kansas, and most recently served as CIA director. He is a man who is known for his intellect, leadership, and character. None of this outstanding experience was addressed by Senator Cory Booker when he asked the question, when he decided to ask the question dealing with Pompeo's faith. And I think that questioning his faith is wrong in general. When you question somebody's faith, I mean that's typically it's uncalled for. It really is. Ironic that Pompeo, who in internationally religious freedom organizations and advocates call a strong nominee who will make international religious freedom a foreign policy priority, should have to defend his own religious convictions to the U.S. Senate. During the hearing, Senator Booker put Pompeo's face to the test, repeatedly asking him the very inappropriate question, which I agree with the statement: do you believe that gay sex is a perversion? So for those of you who don't know what exactly Senator Booker is asking, Senator Booker is asking if Pompeo is pro-LGBT, essentially. That's really what he's asking. Because if he's actually asking if he's okay with gay sex, I think that's just super inappropriate. I feel like he asked this question mainly because he knew people would talk about it on the news sources. Because it's just such an outlandish question, and it's worded so poorly. But essentially, that's what he wanted people to see. Is he's going to ask this crazy question, and then the people from the LGBT are going to recognize it and say, "Oh wow, he doesn't like us." Pompeo is a Christian and has, as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, supported marriage as the union between one man and one woman. But he has never been accused of discrimination in any way. In fact, he pledged in his Senate hearing to treat everyone equally with the same set of rights, saying, "My respect for every individual, regardless of sexual orientation, is the same." Okay. I can respect that. Pompeo's pledge and record as a respected Army veteran, CIA director, businessman, and U.S. congressman was not enough for Senator Booker, who continued to press Pompeo to answer whether or not he considered gay sex a perversion. So, this is a United States Senator asking a man who is known to be faithful to our Lord God and keep their faith close if he believes gay sex is a perversion. So, if we're going to be completely honest, as a true Christian, the undeniable answer to Senator Booker's question would be yes, it is a perversion. It absolutely is a perversion. It's just not. And saying that he respects every individual regardless of sexual orientation is the politically correct way of saying keep it in the bedroom. If you want to be gay, you want to be outwardly gay, that's fine. Keep that on your own time. A respectful Christian's not going to go around tongue punching his old lady or her old man. They're not going to do that. You're not. You don't. Because you have couth. You have ethics. You have morals. You're a good person. Typically. Not all. Not all. That's for sure. But a true Christian would say yes. It is absolute perversion. And you can't deny that. If you're a Christian, if you believe in God, and you sit there and say, well, no, it's okay, I agree with it. Apparently you haven't read the Bible at all. Apparently you haven't sat there and appreciated any word of God. It is a perversion. People don't want to be told no. That's the point. People don't want to be told no. And asking this question in such a public way to try and belittle this gentleman who has proven himself worthy of almost any position in this country. I would even say a president. This gentleman should be able to make a run with everything that he's accomplished in his lifetime. To ask such a filthy question when you already know the answer, and he gave you an acceptable answer to that question, saying that everybody is going to be treated equally, and you badger him again. I think that's highly inappropriate. That's why Senator Booker cries with tears with rage. He's a joke. He's a piece of garbage. There we go. Last story of the week. We're going to end on something hysterical and just dumb. This university is a cry closet for stressed out students. Now, I didn't pull any articles or any paragraphs from the article itself because I read this headline and I thought, well, it's going to be funny. My listeners, whoever listens to it's going to be probably not a beta male soy boy. So, my first reaction was, you ever see a headline and think to yourself, our future is lost? I did. I read this and I was like, well, it was a nice run. That was mine. It's literally a small walled-off piece of what should be called furniture. I mean, really. I saw pictures of this in the classroom. In a classroom. Is like this four-walled, with a door and stuffed animals, piece of furniture that people just crawl into and cry. Oh, what? How are you an adult? This is college. It's supposed to be higher learning, higher education. You're a child. You are a child. There is no way you can be construed as an adult. Ever. Ever after this. Ever. No self-respecting person would do this. No. Soy boys, beta males. That's it. Those are the ones. That's it. Get in there. You ain't coming out. Nobody wants to see you. Imagine these children trying to go out into the real world and deal with everyday life. call me crazy, but at my place of employment, I don't have this kind of luxury. I don't have the ability to go and just sit in a cry closet and just let it out because some guy with more experience than me decided to scream in my face because I made a huge mistake and we could all get in serious trouble. Call me crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. I really, really don't. I think that's a strong spot to end it today. Thank you all for tuning in once again. God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at liberal_letdown. Contact me at Gmail, theliberalletdown@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, do whatever. Gab and the Red Society, the Liberal Letdown. I'm there. Come and talk to me. I'm open to everybody. See you then.